I get a lot of people contacting me from time to time, and they have this dream of being property investors. What they perceive or what they are looking to do is have a series of buy-to-let investments and so on. And so there's a plan or the strategy or the dream of being owners of multiple units, multiple houses. And the plan is to start off with one and build up. And that's a fair enough plan. It's a fair enough plan. It's a common enough sort of a strategy, and it's a common enough ambition for somebody to have. But the reality sometimes can be much different from the theory and from the dream. And I have a couple of stories about property investments that I've made and indeed still hold, but which might give you some food for thought in terms of what the reality is versus what the theory is. You're going to sit down and you're going to get a spreadsheet out, and you're probably going to make your calculations based on the rental income you're going to get and the outgoings you're going to have, your interest, your capital, perhaps that interest, maybe interest only for a while. But there's two particular events, two occasions I can recall as a landlord and as a property investor, which might give you food for thought. First one was I landed down to one of my rental properties and discovered that the tenant was gone. And when I discovered the tenant was gone, I made inquiries, and it transpired that he had been arrested and taken to Castlereagh prison. And on making further inquiries, I discovered that there was a dog left in the apartment, who by the time I'd gone back to the apartment again to gain entry had chewed through the leg of a table through hunger or frustration, or call it what you like. But when the guards were coming to arrest the tenant in question, they weren't asking any questions, and 2 or 3 days later, when I came down to visit and collect the rent, that's the sort of a situation that I faced. It took me a good 3 months before I could gain access, not gain access, but gain lawful access to the apartment again, and get the key and get the locks fixed and get the door fixed and so on and so forth. And that all needed to be done. But in terms of doing a calculation of your rent, you must make allowance for periods during which you're not going to get any rent. You must make allowance for periods during which tenants may down tools basically and stop paying your rent. And the time period, the lag between the breach of the tenancy agreement and actually getting vacant possession of the apartment, getting the tenant out, can be very long. It could take up to 12 months if you do it lawfully, and I would have to advise you to do it lawfully. But you need to factor in occasions like that one to the considerations and calculations and forecasts that you're going to make. You don't often come across situations like that, but when they do happen, they can be very expensive, and they can leave you with a property investment calculation or financial forecast which is completely out the window. In other words, you're looking at a 6-month, 12-month period during which A, you can't gain access to your apartment, and B, you're not getting any rent, but you still have to pay the mortgage, pay the interest and so on. Another occasion, it turned out that the tenant simply stopped paying, and between taking every step open to me, every legal step open to me from start to finish, it was probably a good 9 months before I gained possession of the apartment again. And the problem then was, of course, there was a huge amount of rent still outstanding, but the practical reality is I was never going to get the arrears. So there's another 12-month period during which no rent was coming in. So you can sit down with a spreadsheet or a Google map or a Google Sheets, and you can do very prescient forecasts, and you can see exactly forecast as best you can what your forecast cash flow is going to be, what your income is going to be, and your outgoings and so forth. But there are periods during which you're going to have serious fallow periods in terms of rent. You're also going to have unanticipated and unexpected investments perhaps, or repairs to carry out. You need to factor all of these things into your calculations. So the dream of having one property and then going and building on that and investing again and realising the capital and borrowing again and leveraging, using the benefit of leverage, using the benefit of debt, that's all very well, but you must allow for human nature. You must allow for things going wrong. You must allow for accidents. You must allow for tenants shagging off. You must allow for difficult tenants. You must allow for tenants getting arrested and banged up in Castlereagh, as I discovered one Saturday morning when I visited my property to collect the rent. So by all means have your dreams, by all means do your calculations, by all means plot and plan and scheme, but do factor in the practical reality of it, and do factor in getting some advice from people who have been there before you and who have a good bit of experience in this area. Hope you find this video useful. If you do, I would appreciate if you give it a thumbs up down below, and you may be interested in subscribing to my YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel I deal with all aspects of Irish law, Irish business, and I have a lot of experience in the world of business, having been self-employed since 1986 at the age of 23. So as I say, I hope you find this video useful, and if you do, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up down below. Thank you.